Spartan mode versus monk mode. As an ex-monastic, I'd like to chime in on this debate that I see on YouTube. Is it a debate? I really like the Spartan mode. I came across a couple of videos on the Spartan way and Spartan mode. These were related to giving up into or conquering, overcoming the lure of internet pornography, which is just an increasing bloody issue for men, especially, but also for women, for all. And God help the young today, of course. Well, the Spartan mode talks about going cold turkey for 30 days, no YouTube, no sugar, no junk food, eat healthy, exercise twice a day, even though the guy conceded that that was a bit hardcore when he was going through his 30 days. And he scaled it back to give himself a rest day. But again, there's no need for rigorous legalism, I would argue. Find what works for you. There's no talk of prayer or the use of the frequenting the church, the liturgy, and the sacraments. Well, that's where the Orthodox spirituality takes center stage, because the author, the guy that talks about the Spartan way, he's very much, look, we spend all this time on YouTube, we spend all this time on the internet scrolling, doom scrolling, etc. It's TikTok and things like that nowadays. And you think, well, okay, an hour's gone. What did I get out of this? Nothing. I've seen a few cat videos. I've seen this and that, a few funny things, but nothing. Or even, for me, the lure of educational videos. And ironically, this is one of them. Although it would be at a very cheap level. But people, like myself, we get lured into YouTube when I've got such a rake of unread books. This is just one segment of my collection. I have many more. And, arguably, what's better? The slow, methodical read, the slow, personal read, or the hours spent watching documentaries on YouTube. Albeit, YouTube or Audible, they're great because you can be walking and listening. You can be doing your dishes and listening. You can be driving and listening. But the problem is, are we listening to God? Do we have that silence in our lives? And do we have that space in our lives for just a off-the-cuff chat with our neighbors, for just a spontaneous talk with the people at church or whatnot, our colleagues at work, etc.? So the guy in the videos, I'll provide a link on with this video. He talks about that of getting off the media, off the phone, and into real life. Yeah, I looked at my own history, and it's like, now you get a breakdown with the phone. How long have you spent each week, and blah blah blah. It's like, oh, that's a whole day. That can't be right. That can't be right. So it's an experiment for 30 days, coming off all of that junk and all the good stuff as well for a bit. The only thing I'm going to allow myself to use YouTube for in these 30 days is going to be for 120 little videos that are on YouTube for Greek, and I have them downloaded. So that's the only thing I can, because otherwise, as the guy says, if you go in loose about this, you get no results. If you go hard, it hurts, but that's where you get the results. And the guy who made the videos talks about journaling each night. He also talks about he mentions various supplements that are good for healing a damaged mind. Have a look at it yourself, but he mentions magnesium, omega-3s. I recently started taking them, and Wow, phenomenal for me anyway. Felt much better getting up on the morning. May even have improved my eyesight, but who knows? What else does he mention? He mentions things like, in this world of scrolling and what the algorithms taking you hither and thither and the endless supply of information on the internet, it's very easy to kind of drift through life and not actually be taking steps on of creativity on the journey of life, like achieving something. And that's the good endorphins, that's the good, what would you say, a good dopamine, I don't know. When you really feel like, wow, I'm getting somewhere. For me, learning Greek, I'm actually getting there. By getting the phone off and sitting at a desk, old school, and engaging. Now, obviously, there's things on the internet one can use to learn language and all the rest of it, but this is a 30-day reset and reboot. I think it's worth pursuing. Check it out if that's speaking to you at the moment. I'll include the links in the description. And just while we're on it, this book here came out a couple of years ago, and during the kind of lockdown years, The Angelic Life, A Vision of Orthodox Monasticism. There is a section in here that deals with the use of the internet, which I made a video on this several years ago, maybe a year ago or so. But again, the author goes into great detail on the whys and the hows of coming off the internet and not being so addicted to the phone, not being so attached to the phone. We're listening to Microsoft, we're listening to YouTube, we're listening to TikTok, but are we living in the here and the now, and are we listening to God and speaking with God? Right, I don't know whether I can find the bit on digital health, but yeah, the internet, there it is. Page 340 to 354 or 362. So he talks about spiritual harm, physical harm, psychological harm, and cognitive harm by these things. Now, obviously, there is some good. The internet exposes us, obviously, to things that otherwise we might in a lifetime never have come in contact with. Would I have ever come in contact with the Orthodox Church other than its music outside of the internet? Probably not. Would. And just today at church, a young lad, 14-year-old, just rocked up to church. His dad drove him over. How would he come across and he loved the liturgy. How would he come across orthodoxy? In an atheist background, he told us. He certainly didn't hear about it at school. How would he heard about it? Through the internet. So it's not all doom and gloom, but nevertheless, even what's good, we need to use with the due measure. I can't imagine this chap here spending 24 hours in a week, on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook and all these different things. I can't imagine that. So just as ancient orthodoxy is right from the beginning gave us ways to regulate in the freedom of the Christian, ways to regulate our eating so that we have fasting built into our daily life and our calendar. So too, I would argue, in our life today, we have to build in, arguably, some order around these new gadgets, which are quite frankly simply taking over. All right, God bless, and speak to you perhaps in 30 days' time. The 30-day Spartan challenge with Orthodox spiritual overtones. Please God.